Hello, everyone. My name is Masashi Nuano. I am the Festival and Exhibitions Director at CAM, the Center for Asian American Media. I am so happy to be with you today. Most of you have now seen Lumpia with a Vengeance at the drive-in at Fort Mason. I hope you all enjoyed yourself. I am thrilled. I have so many of the talented people who made this film with me right now. I'm going to bring them all on stage or on screen in a minute. First, I have a few announcements. First off, I want to thank our co-presenters. Co-presenters are organizations within the community who are helping serve so many of us. So I want to thank for this particular program, Ballet Creative and Bindle Stiff Studios. Thank you for helping spread the word. Programs like CAMFest 2021 and CAM's year-round programs are made possible with our community of supporters around the world. Help us bring compelling and diverse Asian American stories to light. Donate or join as a CAM member at CAM's website, cammedia.org. For a limited time, new members can save 15% on our friends and supporter memberships using the promo code Celebrate Stories. This film you just saw is also eligible for our Audience Award. Did you like the film? Do you want this film to win our Audience Award? If so, all ticket buyers who watch the film at the drive-in will receive an email the next day. Please rate this film. And after the festival, we will be announcing all the winners of our festival. This film, I was looking back at my emails. I've been talking to Patricio, the director, now for many years. I knew, from early on when I first saw Lumpia that whenever the sequel was done, that we would love to present the film. And so it took us a few years. I'm so thrilled that we're all together here to celebrate this wonderful film. And I am ready to talk about it. So I'm going to bring up some of the key people who made this film come to life. So first off, I have Patricio Ginelsa, director, co-writer. We have April Absinthe, actor. We have Mark Munoz, producer and actor. AJ Calomai, producer, editor, and Francis Custodio, actor. Welcome to CAMFest, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. First off, how's everyone doing, wherever you're at?
Good. Fully vaccinated on my end. My family.
Oh, good. That's exciting.
I'm good. We're ready for the premiere.
I got my second vaccine shot today. So officially today, so I am excited to be here and with you all to celebrate. So I have questions for you all. Patricia, I'm going to start with you. When I think about this film, I have so many questions, but I wanted to take it to the beginning of Lumpia, the first film, right? Came out in 2003, and I know since then you have screened the films in different ways. We worked together on rescreening the film as well. What are your reflections on the first Lumpia, I guess, almost 20 years later? What do you think about when you think of that film?
Well, first off, I mean, it's an honor to actually screen at CAMFest. I mean, my history as a filmmaker with CAM dates back when I was a high school teenager when they screened my high school project. So around that same time, I think 2 years later, was about the same time that we started shooting the first Lumpia movie. Way back in '96, I think 1996 is when he started shooting the film, and that was just, even then, that was a reunion movie with my friends in a neighborhood. So we grew up in Daly City, and so every summer we would shoot a movie together, and Lumpia was just that reunion movie. Now that we were older, to just create a fun project that all of us could just have fun with. It was just a summer project, I think, and then lo and behold, when we ended up releasing it, it just became this cult hit. And the movie itself was actually inspired by Robert Rodriguez's El Mariachi film, and that was to see a Mexican hero wielding a guitar as a weapon, right? And my brother and I, Dar, we were thinking about the concept. We were like thinking, okay, what's a Filipino version of that? And the best thing that we could think of was a guy dressed up in a barong Tagalog who throws lumpia as a weapon. So it started out as a very wacky kind of just something we're just kind of having fun with. And then I kind of took it to another level. And so my brother always kind of jokes about, man, I was just messing around, and he couldn't believe how far it took this. So that's really how the origin of the original Lumpia movie.
That's great. Yeah. And when, I've been at CAM now for a while, and Lumpia is one of those films that has just always been brought up again as like a cult. As you mentioned, the reaction to the film, it always comes up in like a film that is such a great example of filmmakers, creative people, fun people coming together to tell a really great story. And it has that perfect blend of this homegrown, fun style with really great storytelling, great filmmaking. So, and that, I see that still there with your sequel here. Can you talk about when you decided to make that sequel, and what was the process before you started to film this the second film?
Well, we were celebrating the 10th year anniversary of the film in 2013, and so we decided, myself and AJ, we've been working on, music videos and stuff for a decade now in projects, and so we felt it's time to do a feature. And so in celebrating our first film together, Lumpia, we decided, let's see if we can kickstart. Crowdfunding was a thing, and so we decided, why not try see if there's still a niche audience out there who'd want to support the making of a sequel. And lo and behold, we funded that film on the last day, and overwhelmingly, then we had to decide, okay, how we're gonna. They greenlit the project. Now we're gonna decide how we're gonna make that feature. I knew it was going to take long. I didn't realize it would take us eventually 7 years to finish it. But that's a testament to the movie just really being greenlit by the community, made by the community. And then, there were certain checkpoints in the way that made this movie possible and to where it's finally premiering.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, and when I started talking to Patricia about CamFest right now, we immediately started talking about the drive-in, and for me it was an easy one because the film is so dynamic. There's so much happening on the screen. It's such a production. So I'm glad we have some producers here to talk about this film. Mark, AJ, can you talk about producing a film like this and what this process was like for you?
I'll go first, Mark. Yeah, it was. I mean, I worked with Pat since the first movie, and already then I can see his vision with, even though it was with neighborhood kids and friends. I mean, the framing, the type of action, all the beats within the sequences. I mean, it was all there. So I knew by the time when we decided to do the sequel and it got greenlit, with the Kickstarter, I was like, man, this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be pretty good. We're gonna get all these action pieces in, and man, we sure did. I mean, there were huge scenes, with tons of extras. A lot of people running around. Some pretty complex action sequences and fight choreography, and having Mark in the middle of that, with his like professional experience and him just kicking ass was like awesome. I was like, man, this is like, from where it started with your friends, Pat, and seeing here like an MMA fighter like kicking ass and throwing people around. I was like, this is cool. This is really cool. So and it's entertaining. I think that's something that's pretty amazing with our independent film here, is that there's some pretty fun moments, and to see the scale and to see the scope and see it all come together in this, in our indie movie is pretty damn fun to watch. So.
For me, it was awesome to be able to be a part of the film and to be a part of the whole process in which, with all the action scenes and giving my like 2 cents about things, because I'm not used to like not punching somebody for real, like when I punch somebody, so like. It's not like I don't
hold back, Mark. Don't hit him. Don't hit the button.
Yeah,
no.
So I don't really hold back too much, but I learned how to do that on screen and on camera. And so, to have my 2 cents in the fight scenes and stuff like that with the crew, and it was an amazing experience. And to be able to be working with Patricio and AJ, and Lawrence, it was an amazing experience for me.
That's wonderful. When I was looking, Patricia, at the IMDb page for this film, I was like looking at the list of characters and actors, and again, it's one thing to have all of the production, the sequences ready to go, but you really need great actors to pull that off, to tell that story. And so I'm so excited to have April here. Francis, you're also here. We have so many people here who worked on the film. Maybe Patricio, can you talk about casting? And then for April, Francis, can you talk about being in this film and preparing for your roles?
I mean, you can't do a Lumpia film without the soul of Lumpia, and that was the challenge. Having Francis come back with his Moon Moon character, I think that was a must, and that was a challenge, right? Trying to fulfill, even though this is, even though it's Lumpia 2, we're trying to make it standalone, but also to honor the fans of the original film. So obviously we had some of the returning cast and my neighborhood friends, and that was the hardest part, non-professional actors who are coming back in, but then also complementing them with professional actors. And April, during the audition process, she killed it. I mean, we went through different ways, because even the lead role wasn't supposed to be Rachel. It was supposed to be a lead male, a son. Mm. And so when we decided to go to female, and then we found April, I felt smart. Like, well, this is the best decision we ever had, was to cast a female role, because I was kind of hesitant if it would work or not. And April just knocked it out of the park. In a way, I kept rewriting it through the process, and April knows this. Like, we were trying to develop her character and throughout the whole movie, and even rewrote the third act because of her.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say, like, being in the movie, one of the biggest things that stuck out to me was that it was a family. And preparing for this role, the movie's based out of Daly City, and I lived super close to there when I went to SF State for college. I've been in the Bay my whole life. And so when we're talking about telling stories through film, I really incorporated a lot of what I had experienced being raised here, the community that's here, the family that's here, whether it's your blood or your friends. I really wanted to add that authenticity to Rachel in this movie, because even though it's about a vigilante throwing lumpia, there's still, you find truth in even the most impossibly imaginative things. Like, that's what art is for. And I really wanted to bring that whole landscape to just within my responsibility in Rachel. So, and to be in this film, everyone I worked with there was just so committed to the dream. They were so committed to the vision. And I feel like this time and space where we all just got to be grouped together, the magic that happened. I mean, you guys all being producers, you guys having worked together when you were in college, just doing a film for fun. And then Mark, pursuing his career as a fighter, and we all got to be grouped together in this one project. It's just it's insane how it was a catalyst. And I don't know. It's great. It was great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, I think April pretty much nailed it on the head. I mean, when we started off, I guess in the 90s, when we started filming any movies, I was 9 years old, and it really started off as a family, as April mentioned. Literally, it was just myself and my brother and Patricio and his brother. So it's just a neighborhood of family members. And as years went by, when Patricio introduced the very first lumpia, I mean, our family just got expanded. And this is where people outside of Daly City started to kind of creep in and joining this film, which initially it was just really for fun. When we started the film, I was 16 years old. When the movie ended, I was 23 years old. So you can see the progression of the weight gain and the old age as I ran up that hill. It's obvious. However, I mean, going from there, making the first film in which a lot of it was really raw in terms of using just a normal camcorder, using a hockey stick as the boom mic, no scripts. It's really just, hey, this is what you say.
There was a script.
Film.
What are you talking about? There was a script. Come on now.
We know we don't use that script, Patricio. And even if we had a script,
for not reading it, but I was there.
No, I read that script. But even if there was a script, I knew you were going to change it. You're like, no. I don't like what you're saying. Let's change it this way. So with that said, I mean, it's just really raw. And then kind of transitioning to this new film in which I know Patricio was probably one of the hardest one to convince to join. You know, it was 20 years later, and you know, I have 3 kids, and you know, I have a firm to run, and things just gets extremely busy. And at first when Patricio presented it, I'm like, wow, this is going to be a lot of work. And I know little bits of the movie does take time to film, but you know, it's one of the best decisions I've made. To be honest, you know, just being part of this team and part of this project. Part of being able to work with professional actors like April and Mark, and just being part of this project with Patricio and AJ, with just taking what Lumpia 1 was and taking it to another level, in which now we have a script that we actually have to memorize and have it nailed down, and actual people watching you, and it's just a different experience, and it's something that I would never have experience if it wasn't for Lumpia 2. And so it was just an honor, and just being part of this interview, it's an honor to be interviewed by CAMFest, and it's something that I'll cherish forever.
So true.
Oh,
so
yay.
true.
Thank you so much. Patricio, wow, that was kind of overwhelmed by this conversation. For me, there is something that I'm really inspired by from this conversation about, I guess, the starting of Lumpia, but then also with this film, of this grassroots feeling of a community of creative people who want to tell a story. And instead of letting limitations, hurdles stop them from telling that stories, almost take that on and make it even 10 times bigger than, what a standard film would be. And this film is so ambitious. And, I think if anything, this is a film that future filmmakers can look at and say, this is an example of how they made this film. How can we make our films with that same spirit? From what I'm seeing and sensing, there's this real family-like feeling to not only filming this film, but also the behind the scenes, the producing it, all the actors working together. For the people at the drive-in, but also anyone in the future who sees this film, what is your main goal of this film? What do you want people to take away after they see this film?
I mean, from a filmmaker standpoint, I just want to, you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who have that positive energy, because most of us have never made a real feature film before. And to do this with this group of people, cast and crew, and do this for the first time. And then we got Danny Trejo in it as well, anything is possible. I mean, we never had the budget and we pulled so many favors and experiences. But look, if you surround yourself with the right creatives and the right people who believe in you and enable you to do it, anything's possible. So that's really, watching the movie, I'm hoping people have fun. But if they dive deeper in terms of how this movie was done and really dissected how it was created, the community greenlit us. And the best thing that we could do was come up with a final product that made everyone who believe us, make it worthwhile. Like it was worthy of the support that they gave us. So, yeah. Yeah,
and you guys should be so proud of this film. Especially in this last year with the pandemic, I realized that film, media, storytelling has really gotten me through so much of this year. And although seeing important documentaries, dramas have been really helpful, I think there is something about this film, especially as someone who is curating this festival, seeing a film like this that has so much light, had so much energy, so much kind of enthusiasm in it. I think for audience members, it will, I think it's something that we all need right now. So I do encourage everyone else to watch this. If you're seeing this Q&A and haven't seen the film, I encourage you all to find it. I know, Patricio, for you, also, there's a whole world beyond this film, right? There's comics. Can you talk about the full Lumpia world that you have been working on, and then after that, maybe how people can follow along with the journey, follow more about this film and all the stuff you're working on?
Well, it is a comic book movie, and so it wouldn't be, it just made sense to make a comic book, and we were very fortunate, again, using the crowdfunding platform to kickstart our first issue last year. It's amazing because even our stunt coordinator, people who worked with us, I didn't know they could draw. And so we have that. A lot of people wrote, and we're doing issue 2. We have a special cam edition, San Francisco premiere of issue 1, drawn by Leroy David. issue 2 comes out around the same time, and that one we have more artists who are coming in. Even our producer Rick Guerrero wrote a story. So it's amazing how the comic book only exists because people love it and they're willing to really put in their best work. And this is not just helping; they're literally like putting their best work in. So I'm hoping people can check out the comic book because the especially issue 2 is an interlude, so it takes place with stories that happen during the events of the movie, and issue 1 is a prelude. So if you bought the ticket, you obviously have the free copy, the free digital copy of the film. But check out also issue 2.
Awesome. And how can people follow along?
Lumpiamovie.com. The comic books is all there, and Instagram and Twitter. We also have a comic book signing. So just for the full details, that's another portion of the film. That's just I guess someone's already dubbed this the DFU, the deep fried universe. So I guess that's what we're calling it, the DFU. We're making it official here on CamFest. This is the start of the DFU.
That's awesome. Does anyone here, anyone have any last words they want to share, whether about the film or anything they want to say to the audiences?
Yeah, really quick. Earlier you were saying that this past year has been really, really tough. And I just wanted to say that the spirit of this film is that anything is possible. And, who knows what's going to come next? It might still be a really tough road, but if you just stay committed to your vision and continue to dream big and stay resilient in that journey, you might have your own deep fried universe. Like, it just don't give up. We need your spirit. We need everyone's creative spirit, as hard as it is. Just keep doing it because anything is possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would have to agree with April. I just with me, I grown up in Vallejo, which is right in the Bay Area. I never thought in a million years I'd ever punch and kick people in the face for a living. But because of me being bullied, just like the film Kuya got bullied, it was part of my experience. It's part of what I went through, and I learned how to wrestle, and then wrestling led to other things, and so, kind of like how Kuya kind of, got bullied, and it led for him to be a silent avenger, a vigilante, and loving lumpia just like me, so I was a perfect fit for the film, I guess,
Perfect.
But I always say your life experiences shape and mold you into who you are, who you become. I've had those life experiences, and I'm so happy to be a part of this production and a part of this crew, and looking forward to what the future holds for us. And I appreciate CamFest and all you guys for interviewing us, and we're so excited, for what lies ahead.
I just want to say, Mark, that was great. And just want to say thank you. Ever since making the very first movie, there's always been a stream of support from the Bay Area. So this homecoming, literally, it's homecoming of the movie to the Bay Area means a lot. A lot of the people that were extras, that were part of the movie, they'll be able to see themselves in the big screen. So thank you for all your support. Thank you for this long journey. Hopefully, it will continue. But thank you. We love you guys.
Yes. Awesome. It's pretty amazing, this statement this movie is making. Not only in the movie itself, but I think behind the scenes, we're representing in front of and behind the camera as well, with the people who made this. And it shows, that you can continue to build, with your friends, with your circle, and create something. It's not always trying to how do I get into Hollywood to make something? You have it there. What you have is enough to tell your story and to impact people, so believe in yourselves, build, with your friends and with the stories that you have, and look at what we did here. So I'm really, really proud of this.
Super cool.
I think that's a wonderful way to wrap this up. Sadly, we are out of time. I have one word: trilogy. Just throwing it out there. Once again, I want to thank Patricio, April, Mark, AJ, and Francis. Thank you all so much for being here audiences, thank you so much for coming to the drive-in. We look forward to seeing you at future CamFest events. Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Cam.
Thank you.